welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. This is a live show. We're okay, John? Thanks.
Fade to black.
Thank you for watching us on Verizon 32 everywhere in the Pittsburgh area, Nemacolin all the way up to Cranberry, Wexford, the city of Pittsburgh, and everywhere in between, including Bethel Park. Also, thanks for all the local residents of Bethel on Comcast for watching us on Comcast 7. We appreciate it. And then we have Jim J. I got the latest update on likes. We hit the brand new high for 2015, 4,614 likes. So thanks to all of you that have liked our page and the ones that just did recently. And some of you that were invited, how about giving us a like? We'd like to hit 4,700 maybe before the end of July. But thank you. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. I got Chip the Prophet Hayner next to me. Smoking Jim Frazier's there. And Zach Brenner is bringing up the rear there. He's our anchor position tonight. Everybody was here on time. If you need an update, I guess there was no snow or rain in the neighborhoods and they found their way. So we start with our opening segment of What's on Your Mind, and we're going to do that right now. Zach Brenner, what's on your mind?
Well, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, I've been giving a lot of thought to the Pittsburgh Pirates, Smoking Jim Frazier. So much thought that, once again, no, folks, it's no joke. I love all the teams in the city of Pittsburgh. It's no secret, even the battling Buccos that my two esteemed colleagues so dearly love and enjoy. But the thing of the Pirates is, folks, and just like the other team on the North Shore, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm not very much sold on either one of the two franchises this season or next season, therefore. But let's just talk on the Pirates real quick. They have had a little bit of a resurrection as far as the batting goes. The bats have picked up a little bit, Smoking Jim, much to the dismay of a lot of people. It appears that McCutcheon doesn't need knee surgery after all, Smoking Jim, and his hair is growing back. And at the rate that it's growing back, I believe by August he'll have some little cornrows or something going, but he should be in full swing for the batting title, hopefully by then. But what's really on my mind, folks, is soccer, and I know Harkins is back there all pumped up for women's FIFA tournament that's upcoming. But what's really on my mind is the actual FIFA organization itself. That actually the governing body, the main governing body of soccer, which some call football, Smoking Jim, but it's soccer to us in America. But the corruption that has taken place in soccer, I'm sure that it takes place everywhere across the board at all levels in most big organizations.
And if they listen to this panel, they know it runs alive and well here.
But to let a guy that supposedly was as corrupt as the main guy in FIFA continue to get elected, he got elected 5 times in a row since 1998. And that's just baffling to me that this man was able to slip through the cracks for that long of a time and for that amount of period. There's no wonder when a place called Quarter gets the World Cup. It's in the desert, Smoking Jim. They don't even have any grass. Cotter. Yeah. It's all relative, but
depends on what news you listen to.
But like I said, the most disturbing thing is for a guy since 1998 to be able to run one of the biggest governing bodies in all of sports and to run it the way that he did is just an outrage to me. And I hope he gets whatever's coming to him. He actually stepped down and resigned today after, like I said, getting elected for a 5th straight time. So that's what's on my mind tonight, folks, the corruption in soccer.
Thanks, Zach. I'm glad I missed that little beginning about the Buccos because I really wasn't listening there, but I'm sure we'll talk about that later. Thank you, Zach. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and if you want the green, you got to see Levine. And what's on my mind, I'll be real brief today. Is
Why would you change up, please?
It's Golden State versus Cleveland in the NBA Finals. And like me and Chip Hayner was talking about before the show, I keep hearing that, that the Prince, Stephon Curry, is the best shooter in NBA history. Well, first of all, he can't shoot better than Pistol Pete Maravich or Larry Bird, but he is good enough to beat Cleveland in 5. And that's what's on my mind, Golden State in 5.
Wow. You already know where I stand, Smoking Jim.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's a nice pick. Just tell me one more time. That was a mortal lock bet, or what do you call that? Lead cinch. Lead cinch.
Like I tell everybody, I always thought a quarter horse was the horse out front of Kmart.
Now it's up to 50 cents.
It's probably $1 now.
And Smoking Jim, those quarter horses are fast for a short speed. They could even beat you in your prime.
Yes, sir.
But that's another story. All right, Chip, let's see what's on your mind.
Let's see what's on my mind. Thank you very much, Alan. And, I have a tendency to kind of lean towards the Golden State Warriors, as my man Jim has predicted. I just think that, it's just going to be another great big disappointment in Cleveland. They usually find a way of shooting themselves in the foot. Give them enough rope, they'll hang themselves. But, a number of different things are on my mind coming into this weekend. We've got the Belmont Stakes being run, okay? And it was like pulling teeth out of a tiger last week, but I got Alan to sit there and actually go on record as saying he feels there's going to be a Triple Crown winner this year. It'd be great to see that streak broken and anoint a new Triple Crown winner. But pay attention about, 6:30 Saturday evening?
Yes.
That's going to be great. And, of course, we got to pay give a nod to a dynasty. Well, not yet. They're in the finals again this year. The Chicago Blackhawks are playing the Tampa Bay Lightning for the Stanley Cup. And and here's what the Pittsburgh Penguins were thought. This is what people thought the Penguins were going to become, a team that would be perennial Stanley Cup contenders and win a few of them. And Chicago now is on the verge of winning its 3rd cup in 6 years, which begs me to say that I think the 2 best players in hockey don't skate in Pittsburgh. Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, I say right now they're the best 2 players in hockey. They do more for their team than the illustrious duo from Pittsburgh. And that leads me to another thing about the Pittsburgh Penguins. And, you've heard about all the gaffes that Jim Rutherford made over the course of the season by mismanaging the salary cap, leaving us men short during the stretch drive into the end of the season, trading away all of our draft picks. And then because he got rid of all of our draft picks, you would think that he would try to find ways to stockpile more draft picks for the future, so we got something to trade away for washed-up, useless players. But anyhow, so here's what happens. Dan Bylsma was under contract for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Ray Shero was under contract for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And another guy named John Hines was also under contract for the Pittsburgh Penguins. That happened to be the former coach of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Baby Penguins. So here's what happens. Any administrative person that is on your payroll, you are allowed to ask for compensation from the team that signs them. So New Jersey Devils signed Ray Shero. Well, Jim Rutherford didn't understand the rule. I guess reading it in black and white, didn't fully explain it to him. He didn't realize that he could have asked for a draft pick, and he could have gotten a 3rd-round draft pick that would have been, we could have got either this year, next year, or the following year. Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't realize that he could do that because, we've got so few draft picks, I guess he doesn't even know what they are anymore. So he didn't do it, which was a big gaffe on his part. Then when Dan Bylsma signed with Buffalo, they decided, you know what, maybe we should get some draft picks because the Boston Bruins did the same thing with somebody else, okay? So they said, well, Boston's going to do it. We're going to do it, but because we didn't know the rule in the first place, we didn't do it. So we lost another draft pick, and then we got another draft pick for signing John Hines. So I think what's going on with the Penguins is I think it's about time that they should say goodbye to Jim Rutherford and get any one of the half a dozen other general managers that they have running around the offices there, take responsibility, learn how to do the job, and rebuild this team. Because right now, I don't think Jim Rutherford's going to get it done, but that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Chip. Before what's on my mind, since I finished pizza before we were done, our pizza sponsor, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. My guys Ryan and Stan weren't there, but Paul made the pizza tonight, and it was just as good as the rest. So call up 412-831-1900. Is that the closest you can get? People are trying to look on TV. All right.
Greatly appreciated.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate it. It was delicious. Now, this is the last time I'll put this up because next Monday is the drawing for our gas grill raffle. Chip's pointing to himself like he's the winner. I just talked to 10 other people. They said they're winning. When do you want to come over my house?
They're delusional.
Okay. Well, we got that. Now, the last day to get your tickets, since I'm all out of them, our good friend from the Market District, Renee, she asked me for tickets, Zach. Not only she asked, where's Zach at? I never see him except on TV. So she goes, Al, do you have any tickets? And I said, no, I just turned them all in. She goes, I knew I could stump you. I said, come out on the 6th, Saturday the 6th at South Park Shops from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can still get the same deal Chip got, 5 tickets for $5. $1 each for Smoking Jim, and he has one, so he may win it. It's a stainless steel Weber grill. Handy Andy from KDKA and one of the most prolific award-winning producers on Bethel Park TV gave it away for the charity to help the scholarship fund. So $1 tickets are still available on Saturday. What's on my mind is somebody mentioned Buccos. Somebody mentioned horse racing. And whatever Smoking Jim, I'll have to check under Fiction and Fact again. I'm not sure what he brings up because he didn't take much time, he said. He did mention Golden State. And since I'm already on the record, we can mention that during the NBA segment. What I'm interested in is the NHL, their finals. And Chip brought that up, but that was what was on my mind. Not only is it frustrating for Penguin fans, but look at 2 of their guys on their top line with Taves were Penguins or could have been Penguins. So Crosby needed some more talent to at least help him, and Chicago has it. So go figure that out. You know, Lemieux and, Burkle, they already gave the okay for the coach and the general manager. So, Chip, that was on my mind because I'm looking at Chicago. 2 out of 5 years is great in my book. So I agree with you. 3 out of 6 years, which I predict they'll win because I don't mind jumping on a bandwagon like that. Wow. So watch the Blackhawks. 3 out of 6 years. I call that a dynasty. No doubt about it. That's what's on my mind. All right, let's go to our favorite segment of all time, and hopefully it goes way back. Let's hear Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do a little razzle-dazzle with this Fiction and Fact. So hopefully everybody, when I tie it all together, will see my point. First of all, the Prince, Stephen Curry, who I love.
Is this a continuation?
It's somewhat.
How did I have a feeling?
Somewhat, but not. It's a little different direction. But
okay.
Sorry
to interrupt you.
The Prince, Stephen Curry, should not have his princess in the press conference, which is his daughter. The NBA, professional basketball, the players are professional, and the sports reporters are professional as well. And press conference are for qualified and credentialed media people and professional ball players only. And this goes back a little bit in how I tied into something my dad taught me. My dad was like Little Z. He knocked a lot of people out in the street. And one thing my dad taught me growing up was to try to never knock a guy out in front of his kids. And that rang true to me years ago. Before I got into the media, I would go down to Three Rivers Stadium and buy my season tickets or my playoff tickets. And employees down there was real rude, and security down there was horrible. And I remember one time I was down there and I noticed one of my favorite ball players of all time, 6'5", 310-pound left tackle John Jackson. Wow. Was down there at the same time. I was in a real bad mood, and I was walking to my car out in the parking lot, and I happened to walk past a Mercedes-Benz. And as I walked past the Mercedes-Benz, the alarm was put on. Beep, beep. And back in the day, that was very disrespectful for somebody to do that when you walk past their car, and that was almost fighting words. That was almost like somebody talking about your mama. So I was upset, and I turned around, and I seen John Jackson. And the only thing I was going to do that I knew I was going to do was pick him up and body slam him. I mean, that was justification for the cause. Now, I don't know what'll happen once we got to the ground, but he was definitely going airborne. And as I was getting ready to sprint to him, he was about 50 yards away, and he was laughing at the time. I happened to notice that his son was there. So that's the only thing that saved John Jackson that particular day from the rumble in the parking lot. But anyhow,
I don't know how this tied in.
To close the story out, it's because the reason you don't bring kids into a press conference, the media cannot really feel comfortable asking the tough questions in front of your kid. And that's what's on my mind. I learned that from my dad.
Who can argue with your daddy? Thanks, Smokey Jim. I enjoyed the fiction part of that, definitely. And the princess is a fact, just so you know. I couldn't hold back.
All facts on that.
I understand that. They always are. Chip, let's hear some Chip's trivia time.
Well, I appreciate that, Alan. And so ask and you shall receive.
Whoa, I like that.
Yeah, that's the theme of my Chip's trivia for this week. A certain young gentleman to my left has inquired about a certain rule that I don't particularly care about in baseball and why it exists.
All right, little drum roll.
Okay, I've got some facts about the designated hitter rule and how it came to be. Couple of things, just follow with me because the one's a little bit longer than the other. But both leagues experimented with the rule in 1969, but only the American League decided to adopt it. In 1973, the American League's thinking was that pitching was too strong and hitting had become moribund. In 1968, Bob Gibson had an ERA of 1.12 for the season, and Carl Yastrzemski hit 301, the only batter in either league to average 300 for that season. Okay.
And he wasn't cheating
The
either.
owners wanted to add more offense to the game for the usual reason they thought the fans wanted more hits and more home runs. The National League decided it was more in the spirit of the game for all players to play both in the field and at the plate, so they never adopted the DH rule. I'm more in sympathy with the National League myself, and there's no real evidence that the DH really increased overall offense. Only one designated hitter has ever won the home run title. That was Jim Rice. And only one DH has ever won the batting title, and that is Edgar Martinez.
Since 1973.
April 6, 1973, Ron Blomberg was the very first designated hitter in baseball. And just to go back a little bit further in regards to this, January 11th, the owners of the 24 Major League Baseball teams vote to allow teams in the American League to use the DH. That could bat for the pitcher while still allowing the pitcher to stay in the game. The idea of adding a 10th man to the baseball lineup to bat for the pitcher had been suggested as early as 1906 by the revered player-manager Connie Mack. In 1928, John Heidler, then president of the National League, revived the issue, but the rule was rejected at that point by the American League management. By the early 70s, Charlie Finley, who happened to be one of the most colorful owners in baseball history, I'm very certain that Alan knows all about who he is.
Read a book or two.
But, I'm sure Zach does not. But Charlie Finley owned the Oakland Athletics. They were the Philadelphia Athletics. They were the Kansas City Athletics. Yeah. And then they moved out to the West Coast. And he was quite the character and tried to do everything he could to get people to come to see baseball games. So the colorful owner of the Oakland A's had become the designated hitter rule's most outspoken advocate, arguing that a pinch hitter to replace the pitcher, a player that usually batted poorly, exceptions like the legendary Babe Ruth notwithstanding, would add the extra offensive punch that baseball needed to draw more fans. At a joint meeting of the two major leagues in Chicago, January 11th, 1973, presided over by Bowie Kuhn, Commissioner of Baseball. The owners voted to allow the American League, which lagged behind the National League in both scoring and attendance, to put the designated hitter rule into practice. The National League resisted the change, and for the first time in history, the two leagues would play using different rules. In addition, the introduction of the designated hitter rule marked the biggest rule change in Major League Baseball since 1903, when it was decided that foul balls would be considered strikes. Though it initially began as a 3-year experiment, it would be permanently adopted by the American League, later by most amateur and minor league teams. April 6th, Ron Blomberg, first designated hitter ever. In his first plate appearance, he was walked on a full count by Boston Red Sox pitcher Louis Tiant. So I hope that answers some of your questions as to how this came into being, Zach, but how it came into being and why, I still don't agree with it.
Oh, that's a given. But I like it was first brought up in 1906.
Yeah.
That's interesting in itself.
You know, the interesting part of it about all that, Alan, is that, you know, in baseball, that was the designated hitter rule was the biggest rule change since 1903. Things have a tendency to move painfully slow in the baseball gears. I mean, it only took them another 70 years to get it passed.
Yeah, I can see why football spanks baseball as far as popularity.
Definitely. And you know Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Except for Pete Rose. He shouldn't have signed that sheet of paper.
You know what? There's what
They
I'll tell
rip
you
up
what.
sheets all the time.
Tell you what.
Not that sheet.
Now that you mentioned that, I'm going to tell you one thing about what they did to Pete Rose. Banishment for life from baseball worked very, very well, because how many other players have been involved in gambling issues since that happened? Let's say none. Maybe if they would have done this with the PED users and people that corked their bats and used pine tar on the baseball, and if they lifetime banned them, tell you what, that's a punishment that has some teeth.
I see
and that's why nobody does
the
it.
Pirates sitting in the same living room with my bookie.
Exactly. If we took away everybody that was cheating in the games, we would have nobody to play. All the best players would be gone. We'd have nobody. We'd have the minor leagues.
Then maybe the games would be played fairly.
Well, they're football fanatics. Look at Jerry Kramer, one of your legendary guys, got caught gambling, right?
Not Jerry.
Was it Jerry or
No?
Who was
No,
the
it was,
guy?
Paul Hornung.
Paul Hornung. I'm sorry.
And the guy Alex Karras.
Yeah, Paul Hornung, Alex Karras got suspended for a year because football believes in gambling.
Yeah.
They're in the Hall. Alex Karras isn't in the Hall of Fame.
He should be.
Well, for hitting a horse, that's why he's not in.
Yeah.
You don't knock out a horse, all right?
That was good.
You don't.
Mongo.
Exactly. I knew that was your hero.
I like that movie.
I know. But
Keep hope alive.
Chip, I got to agree with you on the points there. I just wish Judge Kenshaw Landis wasn't put in charge, because then Joe Jackson would have been in the Hall of Fame, because he wasn't guilty of anything in a court of law anyhow.
No, he wasn't, but it's still, we're coming up on close to, 96 years that Joe Jackson has been, so I'm figuring, hey, if you want to get Pete Rose in, make him wait as long as you've made Joe Jackson wait.
What an arrogant league. What an arrogant league. Sometimes
That's your style.
Sometimes they don't put nobody in the Hall of Fame. Come on.
They don't deserve it that year. They don't deserve it.
Yeah, right.
You got to get 75% of the vote. Yeah. We can't get 75% of the vote on this panel. What are you going to do with 150 people
like
voting?
Chip's always saying, although he don't want to be critical of baseball, certain guys, nobody's ever gotten 100%.
That is another thing, which just shows you how
There's
ridiculous
prejudice
it
in the
is.
voting.
Because the sports writers they get vindictive.
Ethnic
Somebody
I was just gonna say
they're
they should
vindictive.
do ethnic cleansing to the baseball writers.
These guys.
They need to weed out some of these baseball writers. Who's voting for this
They hold
stuff?
grudges to tell me that Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, Rogers Hornsby were not unanimous elections into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Right.
When it was first opened up,
Here's why. Because you put people's opinions into their votes. Like Smokin' Jim has the only vote on our Hall of Fame. Half of the people shouldn't have even been in there, but he has the only vote. So, Chip, you're not going to make sense of these guys.
But I will say this, and I do feel that there are a couple of candidates that will be eligible one in 4 years, one in 5 years, that could potentially be the first unanimous selections. Of both
Here's a prediction.
Both of them played for the Yankees. Mariano Rivera Derek
Really?
Jeter.
Neither of them deserve unanimous. Get
He's a
out of here.
baseball fan. All right, we're going to go. This is enough. Thanks. Hey, one more piece of trivia since Shoeless Joe Jackson. I posted something up the other day. Rookie year. Nobody's ever done this, baseball fans. His average was 408.
Shoeless Joe, and he ain't in.
In the dead ball era, which made it even harder to get hits.
Really?
He hit 408. Nobody ever did that.
Well, can I just say
This will be a little discussion on one more piece of trivia.
Can I just say one thing that makes me mad about baseball, and I can see why it's not nearly as popular as it used to be and never will be. First of all, there's no standard in baseball. The fields are all different. The size of the parks are all
Base
different.
paths are all the same.
The base paths are all the same. But
pitching mound.
Willie Stargell would have had 800 home runs if he wasn't hitting in Yellowstone Park. Then
What about
Then
Roberto
when it-
Clemente?
What
And
about
then
Willie
when
Mays?
the NFL changes a rule, the AFL, the AFC, and NFC has to agree on it. One league got designated hitter, the other league doesn't have designated hitter. That's Bush League.
That's Major League Baseball.
But they play each other in the championship.
They have a rule for that.
But that's why it's not
part of
popular.
the allure of baseball was the uniqueness of each team's different field. All the different fields that were played, and I post a lot of pictures about the old time stadiums because they were all different and unique in their own way, which kind of made the game interesting. But just to speak to your one point, you're a little off the mark on something. Baseball's popularity has never been higher, and attendance has never been higher. So if
Don't
you're
more
thinking
people-
it's not as popular as it ever used to be, maybe there's
his
a
vote.
few
Only
hundred
one
million
thing,
people that
only one invention has ever hurt baseball, and that's the television. Baseball's it's a radio sport.
Yep.
Greatest sport on radio.
Yep.
There's sometimes the guys
What about
weren't
in
even at the
person?
ballpark. They was getting what you told me, Al.
Yeah.
They was getting it by
A news feed.
news feed.
Yeah, teletype.
But it was
channel.
exciting.
Jim, I listened
Who's
to the
on
Pirates.
first?
I listened to the
We don't
Pirates on a transistor radio in the 1971 World
Wasn't it
Series.
good? That was better than
I know.
that.
I listen
was
to the ball
riveting.
games on the radio all the time, every day.
It was
Every
riveting.
day I listen to the
That's
ball
how,
games.
that's how I enjoyed my baseball.
Hey, Smoking Jim, I made my own crystal radio and took it to school.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they were easy to make.
A
Yeah,
radio
Yeah.
was easy to make.
yeah, we made it, and then we plug it into our ear in second and third grade and listen to the games.
Wow.
Yeah, see?
That's great.
Yeah, that's why I love baseball.
Second and third
Who could
grade,
say
I was
they...
skipping school.
Yeah, I can tell you.
You know what? I'm
We don't
just
even-
curious.
Go
I'm
ahead.
just curious while we're on trivia
Open
time,
discussion.
of how many of the younger now. That's the old guard to my right. The old guards to the right. How much of the younger guard really
It's
loves
growing.
baseball? Really loves baseball, Smoking
Good
Jim.
point.
If you have the choice between football, man,
Hold it,
Calvin
let
Johnson,
me ask
Big
something.
Ben, Antonio Brown, like you're really going
Let
with
me
baseball?
ask something right
Baseball's
now.
way down here with hockey.
Do you guys have that mirror that you look in front of? Because all you're looking at is yourself. There's hundreds of
cow.
millions
But
of
baseball
people.
used to be the most popular sport.
Well,
was
that's
America.
because
Yeah,
they've
it was.
changed.
It was America's.
Football got more popular and corrupt,
The only thing
and you
that
can root for your team, so they like that.
the only football gets better television ratings, but baseball gets
better
a better
product.
live gate consistently year in and year out.
I think
No
it's
way.
either-
No way.
Games.
No way. They can make that in one game on any given Sunday.
Why? No, they can't.
Why? You tell me football players aren't man enough to play more than 16 games?
Exactly. This could go on and on. Thanks, folks, for listening. If you want to call in, we're having some difficulty with the phone. It's been
not
In
working.
a
I don't
flashing.
think
16
it's
game
working.
season, they spend half of it on the injured reserve.
That'd be the equivalent of like 80 games in baseball.
Wow.
Does anybody feel the way I feel about the Adrian
The
Peterson
juicers save baseball.
situation?
Adrian who?
He's in. He's in now.
Well, he's in, but he thinks the football players are treated unfairly. He thinks that he was abandoned by the Minnesota Vikings last year because he was suspended with pay for the season. So he got paid $8.5 million to do nothing but, defend himself. And
Hold it. Here's what
now he's unfairly being treated because he's only going to make $12.5 million this year, but it's not guaranteed. Well, you know what? That's your union at work for you, buddy.
No, here's what you need. Adrian Peterson, if they can put this out on YouTube, contact Smokin' Jim, because he'll be your greatest advocate once he looks up to see what that is, and he'll tell everybody how people have mistreated you, and it's not fair that they did this to you, and that he's glad he wasn't your son. And then he'll still say you should get more money, because that's how he operates. And anybody that watches the show, call in and tell him why you can't.
I love what the Vikings told him. He said, my contract's not guaranteed. I'm not going to play for you. Well, the team said, guess what? Then you don't play for anybody because we're under contract and you can sit there and rot.
Well, that's how pompous the Vikings are. They're losers, and they're never going to win. They're losers.
Well, I tell you somebody that needs to work on their accuracy.
Teddy
Johnny Manziel. He missed the kid with the bottle. He threw a water bottle at the kid and missed it.
The only thing he's not going to miss this year is the Steelers defensive backs. He's going to turn them all into all-pros.
All right, this is your extended trivia and humor and everything else. Hope you learned something. Now we're going to go to Z time. Can't wait to hear an extended version of Z time and what we just talked
going to come
about.
out of retirement and catch an interception.
Tonight, folks,
Like
in
Taylor
Z
will.
time, I'm taking extreme exception to the fact that Stephon Curry is the best ever in basketball. For one, what has this young man ever won so far? He has no titles, no rings. Just because he was the MVP one season. Kevin Durant was the MVP for how many seasons in OKC? And I'm pretty sure, Smokin' Jim, he would trade all that for a championship.
NAACP Player of the Year 2 years ago.
Ooh. Okay. Well, I can't take anything away from that. There's great Serbian Americans too. Players
ANCP
Association.
That's not
players.
a league.
Mike Drakulic is the all-time
Gotta
leading
listen
scorer
to
in the
him.
Serbian Western Pennsylvania Basketball League. So that's just what comes with the territory, Smokin' Jim. We're trying to be the best at anything. There's a lot of haters, but I'm not a hater of Steph Curry. I just think that in order to anoint him the best ever is a little premature because he has yet to display some of the greatness that all of the all-time greats have. Clutch shots, pivotal moments. I mean, the regular season is the regular season. Mm-hmm. Not to jump to apples or oranges, but the Penguins are one of the great regular season teams. Mm-hmm. And what happens in the playoffs?
Hey, Chuck, they got a disease.
Hey, John, the Tiger Cocker knows CPR, Al Levine.
Oh, I don't have that disease. We'll finish this show out strong, despite what you're talking about and looking in that baseball mirror.
But when you break down the series coming up here in the NBA between Golden State and Cleveland, Smokin' Jim, it's going to be a game of individual matchups. And you are all about heavy money. You're going to put your heavy money on Steph Curry over LeBron James?
Already did.
Over LeBron James?
Already did.
Well, that's where
Folks,
we're going to...
don't gamble. If you didn't start, don't gamble. If you do, don't listen to this conversation.
Do listen to these conversations. They could help you in pivotal moments if you're just...
Yeah, but everybody likes Smokin' Jim. They're going to go with him.
I could name some times where I went with Smokin' Jim and he put the wagon before the horse. A touchdown was scored early in a national championship game. And he said, "Man, we're in." And I don't think anything good happened from that point on. And I just turned and looked at him and I was like, "We're done. We're done. We're in bad shape now." But individual matchups.
What's your point of this then?
The individual matchup of LeBron James leading Cleveland or Steph Curry, I'm going to go with LeBron James. Because he can play more spots on the floor, Smokin' Jim. He can play virtually every position on the floor in the NBA. He can even run the point. He could grab the rebound, bring it up, run the offense, do his own thing. So I think, people undervalue and want to hate on LeBron. But regardless of Cleveland or anything like that, my money's going on Cleveland with Levine.
I'll tell you the reason why I disagree with your opinion, and I do respect your opinion. I just don't agree with it. Cleveland has LeBron James, and that's pretty much where the team begins and ends. And Golden State over the whole entire season is a better team top to bottom than Cleveland is. And I think that's really going to make the difference in this series. I could be wrong, and you could be right, but we're going to see that there's a reason why they play the games. But I just think with Cleveland being stretched so thin with Kyrie Irving, questionable whether or not he's going to play.
Healing up nicely.
No Kevin Love. Mm-hmm. I don't think they have the depth to win it all. I was really kind of surprised at the way they swept Atlanta. I didn't see that coming. I thought Atlanta played so well all year, but Atlanta's a young team, and they are going to take that beating, and they're going to remember that, and they're going to remember how badly they disliked it, and hopefully they'll come back strong next year.
Well,
We will see.
again, we'll agree to disagree, but that's why they play the game. We're going to find out here on Thursday who the better basketball player and basketball team is. But all around, Smoking Jim Frazier, as far as playing for your country, LeBron James has brought gold to Team USA every time he's suited up. I don't even.
Bruce Jenner.
I don't.
But you know what, Zach? You know what? That in my mind, that is not an accomplishment whatsoever. Because back when in international play, when it was college players playing against the professionals from the other countries, that was an accomplishment when the American teams won. We got the best players in the world, and we just beat up. I mean, that isn't even competition. I mean, it's kind of a joke. I've lost any interest in watching international basketball because we're watching like a high school team playing 5 pros.
I like it.
Except they do call traveling when you start at the mid-court, though. That's the only difference that I like. I enjoy that.
I love
because they get called for traveling. They're like, what?
The son of a ref, and I love hearing him talk about it.
There's a young man.
That would be fun.
There's a young man from the great state of Indiana and a pacer named Paul George that would take extreme exception, man. This young man virtually could have just risked millions of dollars and his career and his livelihood because of a freak injury in an exhibition basketball game for his country. So I give a huge amount of appreciation to the big time players. When you are LeBron James and you are worth that amount of money and you're still going out there, listen, there has never been a better time for international basketball, folks. There's great players outside of the United States. Look at the San Antonio Spurs of the last 10 years. When you want to talk about a dynasty, talk about the San Antonio Spurs with European talent.
We didn't bring that up. We were just talking about like hockey.
Well,
I'm glad you brought it up.
I'm just speaking of great international talent.
I'll co-sign that with you that is a dynasty that they've had.
Definitely. They got the Argentinian. They got Parker from France, one of the best basketball players ever from France.
Because I enjoy the playoff season. That's the only real season in the NBA.
Always like Yao Ming.
Just because you learned to pronounce his name?
Yao Ming. The Chinese center that never won anything either.
Well, that's it for Z Time, but I have one question for him. Can we get a close-up of his head?
You better go pan that camera back a little bit. It's the size of a small planet.
Wait. No, the reason is not to make fun of Zach.
Oh, yeah, it is.
That was not my intent, but I know the crew. I want to congratulate Rod Salka and the Fit Company out there on taking a chance on Century 3 Mall. I wish them the best of luck. I'm going to have to stop out there. Zach's already sent some pictures, and they've been posting some great shots. I think I may stop out at 5:30 tomorrow morning.
Hey, I'm ready to see Levine get a good workout in.
My workout will be walking into the mall, which is locked and secure, getting through the past front door, then going in to spy on their Fit Company to see who is there waiting or who slept over. Then I'll quickly exit the building and make my report. And I can't give any photos because, I'm challenged there, but that's another story. But, yeah, good luck to them. And I know it'll work out because you got champion fighters running their own club. Where do you get talent like that to teach you how to be a champion?
Good point.
So that was no commercial. It's just
that's one of the key elements to this, guys, is that you're not just getting it from some guy that watched The Karate Kid 42 times and then watched Rocky.
Or I watched it 45.
And now thinks he's an expert. He thinks he's a modern day Mick. Like, these are kids that actually came up in amateur boxing, put the time in. They're ranked in the top 15 in the world, most of them, Stevie and Rod. So I couldn't be more happy for these kids. There's a rumor that Stevie might be fighting for a world title as early as September. So I just hope Rod and Stevie keep churning away, and good things are happening to good people, and they're definitely good people.
There's no question about that.
And anytime you want to see a new business or a business that's supporting Brenner Contracting or Pittsburgh Sportsline, get a close-up of his head again, John. Really get a close-up of this one from the eyes up. Can't you get a little tighter there? Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. On location, that's enough. That's actually enough. That's it. All right, this is live TV. All I wanted was a short shot, guys. That control room, are they communicating with John the Tiger? Good. I'm glad my little pep talk at the beginning of the show worked. Hope they can hold on to that for a little longer. I've never seen the Tiger. Mary, I've never seen your boy the Tiger smile like this from ear to ear. So communication is great. On location, we were at the Royal Place last night. We had a great list of guests. You have to check the video when it comes out. We even finally got a NASCAR connection, which Zach Brenner looking for big things out at the Motordrome.
Motordrome Speedway.
Tom Melfi, we met him and his wife Melissa. They invited us out. They even said, Taka Machine, you can come drive a car around there. I said, what kind of speeds do you get? They get up to 200 miles an hour, they were saying, on a half-mile track. So that's a little crazy there. Zach's all happy about that. But we had a lot of great guests there, a lot of information out there. We'll be back there at the end of June. They're away on the 15th, but we'll be out there on the 29th. Next week, we'll be at Duke's Rib House and Grill. And we got one of my heroes, a legendary, the voice of the Meadows, Roger Houston's coming out. And I just was told by Chris Gooden Photography that he'll be out there. For a lot of people that haven't seen Winner's Circle photos, I asked if he could bring a couple in there so you could see what it looks like. Even though Zach Brenner and I were out there at the track the other day for his birthday, he was as close as the Winner's Circle you could get, but he also had winning tickets. And due to IRS restrictions, we're not going to talk about that on air. So that's our on-location report. See you at Duke's Rib House next Monday. About 7:30, we'll start filming. So take care and see you there. Now, let's go to some Bucco talk because I'm excited about the Buccos.
Did we vote on that?
We didn't really talk about it. You guys were delusioned about it, so you look in that mirror and they hate it.
Lots of good things going on in baseball, and this is a little, this one here is from my good friend Jim, and and at the start of the year, you would have to say that the Pirates, number one starter was Frankie Liriano. Garrett Cole was ranked as number 2. A.J. Burnett was a solid 3, and then 4 and 5 were Vance Worley and Jeff Locke, but as the season's progressed, Vance Worley is now in long relief in the bullpen. And I would have to say that Garrett Cole has definitely become the number 1 starter here in Pittsburgh.
Why are you pumping his ego up anymore?
No, and I'll be honest with you. If very few times have we seen the best at whatever position they play here in Pittsburgh. And I think Garrett Cole has the ability and is showing that he's learning his craft, that he could potentially be the best pitcher in the National League.
I agree with you.
He's right up there with he's in the top 5 in strikeouts. He's leading the National League in wins. His ERA is under 2 for the season. He's an absolute bulldog on the mound. I mean, last night he had bases loaded in the bottom of the 6th inning. Bases loaded, no outs. He struck out his last name's Blank. Struck him out on one of the most wicked sliders that I've ever seen. The next batter up, the guy that hit the grand slam off him in the wild card game, grounded into a double play to end the inning. No runs scored, and that just shows you that this guy's got no quit in him, and he's learning how to perform his craft. So my advice is, if you really want to see history being made, pay attention when he pitches every 5th day. You're in for a treat. I recommend it highly. But
to interrupt you before you go on, Ray Searage should get a lot of credit because Cole, when he come up, would lose his temper over the littlest things, from missing a bunt to throwing a bad pitch and not fielding his position. Then he couldn't pitch the next inning. Now he's matured, and that's what people forget. When you have a year or 2 under your belt,
what Ray Searage told him is they want him to pitch with emotional. They don't want him to be emotional on the mound. But and
that's a huge difference, and you can see the maturity there. And it doesn't happen right away. Greater pitchers than him that have proved it, their first 5 years were atrocious. You can just look through history.
I was listening to a baseball expert from the West Coast. It's obviously where the Pirates are playing this week. And he said, he goes, you have a good baseball team when you're sitting there arguing about who should be your number 5 starter. Just to think about that we're arguing over, should it be Jeff Locke, should it be Vance Worley, should we bring somebody up to be your 5th starter?
You know what
Charlie Morton came in off the disabled list, and he has two good performances back to back. Charlie Morton is a big question mark. He has the ability to be what they refer to as ground chuck. You have guys beating the ball into the infield dirt all night long.
16 in the last 7 innings.
Then sometimes he just loses his mind and he gives up 6 runs in 1 inning. So as long as we don't see that Charlie Morton and he can continue to pitch the way he's been pitching since he came off the DL,
You'll see it.
We'll see.
Because at any given time, Chip, your boys will implode fast. The arms will fall apart. The bats will go cold. It's 160.
This is what's nice about new baseball fans.
There's nothing new.
Anybody can
There's
see.
nothing new. I watched the Homestead Grays play. There's nothing.
Hey,
There's no new
somebody's on the
baseball, man.
phone.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, who is this?
Oh, come on. You guys should know who this is.
This can't be the legendary Aaron Ward.
It is.
Yeah! I got it on the first try.
Good evening, Aaron.
Guys,
Hi, Aaron.
how's it going?
It was going good until we started talking about baseball and we got 2 haters on the panel here.
That's not good. Baseball's the all-American sport.
Not according to those 2 guys to the far left.
God bless you, Aaron.
What's on your mind?
It's being smoking, isn't it?
How'd you guess?
Not much. I just saw you guys on Facebook, and I figured I'd give a call because I'm still not home from work yet, and I have reception, so I figured I'd say hey.
Well, I'm glad you did. You almost got in trouble with Smoking Jim's mother, Dorothy, to keep your hands off of Smoking Jim, so I had to go to your defense and say he asked you to adjust his microphone like he does the last 3.5 years that we've been doing this show.
I did see that. I thought that was hilarious. I was going to let Smokin handle his mom, though.
Oh, he couldn't have handled that. He would have said something wrong there.
You would have said LOL.
He might have put that ubiquitous LOL out there.
Whatever that means.
And that's your 50-cent word for the night.
That was it for tonight. Go to you. Hold it. It's time for our Funkin' Wagnalls dictionary to pass it down to the far left and see if you could find ubiquitous. Aaron, we're hoping you have some fun while you're wasting away in traffic here.
I never know. This says faulty.
Oh, I'm walking. I'm at the bus stop, but that's all right. So
Are
what's
you?
the hot topic for tonight, guys? You need some sports knowledge.
You need some sports knowledge.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask Smoking Jim? He's been hot tonight. He's been very hot tonight.
All right, lay it on me, Smokin'. What's the hot topic of the night?
Aaron Ward is hot.
No. Basketball. He bet another house on a basketball team. Tell her what team.
Golden State will beat Cleveland in 5.
All right, nice.
Now you learned something now that she doesn't know about basketball teams.
Well, I do like basketball, but without a team in Pittsburgh, it's really kind of just not worth it.
I understand that. We talked about it Thursday night with Jessica Lee. She come on our show and gave us some points on why we should have an NBA team. Because
I highly agree with her.
Yeah, she said people would love to have an NBA team. Those ABA teams in the past, they weren't NBA. That makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. And she said, why don't we have one since Cleveland's a similar town like us? So Smoking Jim, of course, he agreed with her.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys mentioned it last night, too, about the possibility of a team coming.
Well, there's always been rumors, but they need some of the money to back them up, and that's a tough thing to have a franchise here. So maybe it'll happen.
Perhaps.
So you learned a couple things.
I did. Thank you very much. I'm glad I called.
So are we. Thanks for breaking up this.
About your last 10 minutes.
All right.
Hey, Aaron Ward, you got a great radio voice.
Well, thank you for letting me know, because I have to do a whole bunch of voiceovers for video later tomorrow, so that makes me feel better.
You were excellent because all 4 of us heard you, and almost all of us made a comment except Zach.
I'm just taken away, and I'm just blown away. Sorry.
All right, boys, have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your 10 minutes, and I'll talk to you next
It's 9 minutes and 4 seconds according to the clock on the wall.
Thanks for calling, Aaron.
Thank you and have a safe walk home.
All right, Aaron Shea.
Where's Devin Ward at? Where's Devin Ward? Good night, Aaron.
Control room. Good night, guys.
Bye-bye.
She got great voice.
Just to kind of give a little wrap up to our pirate talk here, and you notice that
Easy with that desk.
the people the Pirates were only going to go as far as Andrew McCutchen will take them.
I heard that.
And when the Pirates were struggling in April, Andrew McCutchen was struggling, and he found a stroke in the beginning of May, and it's amazing that the team has turned around, got on a 7-game winning streak. They took 2 from the Padres. They won the first game from the Giants last night. A.J. Burnett's on the mound again tonight. Continuing his mastery of the National League. What A.J. Burnett's doing at 38 years old is just, it's incredible. I think
he did say, again, this is his last year.
And
no matter what he does, this is his last year.
And you know what? And I think that's just great that he came here for less money because this was the place where he felt most comfortable. And, who feels comfortable in Philadelphia? You know what I mean?
I don't know, but his wife had him convinced about that the year
Andrew McCutchen
before.
in the last month has raised his batting average over 100 points. And last night he scored 2 RBIs off of line drive outs that had the outfielders not made amazing plays on, easily would have been extra base hits. So, McCutchen's swinging the bat well.
Did his hair really grow back? Because I didn't see it.
You know what? I don't even bother looking at stuff like that. It's the most ridiculous thing I've heard. But that's
no disrespect to our esteemed panel.
The countdown to Latrobe has begun, and that's all that matters in the summertime is the countdown to Latrobe.
You know what? That's
Boys,
just an
summer.
opinion there.
Get
There we
back to
go.
football camp.
It's all right.
High school,
he's entitled to
college.
his opinion. But that leads me to the next thing, and this is a field of expertise that Alan Levine is second to none in, is we've got the Triple Crown race going down on Saturday. Now, I was talking to a very knowledgeable horse person the other day, and I cannot remember the name of the horse that he told me that will be running in the Belmont that this horse was bred to run the Belmont.
Long distance.
Yeah, it's built. And he said, if any horse is going to give American Pharoah the trouble, and Lord help, I can't.
Yeah, I haven't studied much on the field, but my feeling is some of it's luck, some of it's destiny. When you win on 2 different tracks at a different length, like they are,
and the conditions they ran,
just the muddy race made me a believer of American Pharoah.
Yeah.
To do it on a longer distance track because he's usable. He's very tactical in his racing ability. He can hold back a little. He can go to the front end. And that helps with the horse. He has a great jockey on him, so that makes a difference. And he has one of the legendary trainers of our time, whether you like him or not.
Baffert, is that
right?
Baffert, yep.
And a lot of people don't like him because there's certain guys, like even on this, they start to hate people that are successful.
Why
and they
don't
want
people
people
like
to be
Dwayne
successful.
Lucas? Dwayne Lucas is one of the most successful. I mean, it just seems like it comes with the territory. But let's kick.
Well, he is. There's
Me
no
and Smoke
doubt.
and Jim ain't hating on the Pirates. They were terrible for 20 years. It might take 10 years to win me back. It's my opinion, and it's my fact.
I know.
You're entitled to your opinion, Zach.
They were atrocious.
But you're talking about like
stock.
3 years ago, I mean, it's just the 3rd year in a row that they're winning, and the 3rd year in a row they're going to make the playoffs. And, guess you can't make some people happy, but that's all right.
Not overnight.
Plenty of people are.
I'm a traditionalist. I don't count wild cards.
We don't even know what you
They
watch,
can't win the
let alone what a
division. When was the last
traditionalist
time?
is.
Okay, here's a trivia question. When was the last time the Pirates won the division?
92.
1992.
Woo! The Steelers never in it every year. Even when we're off,
You know
we're
what?
still
You
in
act
it.
like we're not Steeler fans. I bleed black and gold for the Steelers all the time.
But let
talk
me
about
ask you a
the
question,
Buckeyes.
Jim. And when the Steelers won Super Bowl 40, how did they make the playoffs?
It's too far back. It's too far back. He's a traditionalist.
Say it, Jim. Say it. Say it. They
Well,
were
But you know what?
What kind of card were
But
they?
you know the distinction though? The
It doesn't
Steelers won
matter.
the Super Bowl. The Buccos didn't win anything coming out of the wild card.
Always a technicality.
Winners.
Can't be happy about a
Winners.
winning season. Can't believe there's a change in the winning attitude here. And somehow Smoking Jim was quiet. You couldn't hear
But you
anything.
can't compare apples and oranges. Like I said, football, you can't compare football.
What's an apple and an orange here? Which one is which?
Well, I guess Baseball's a peach. But
No, you can't throw a peach in with apples and oranges. Where's your mama at? I'm posting this up saying, what did you teach him about
But with
fruit?
football,
Okay.
when they change the rule, it's across the board. With baseball, this team does it this way, this team can do it this way, this field is this way, this field's not that way, this guy can't hit against a left-handed pitcher, this guy can't. It's so much different. And
What about footballs?
What
about
But
footballs?
with baseball, nothing changes. The records, everything is so sacred, and now you have wild cards, and that's okay. No, you can't have it both ways in baseball.
Who wins the championship first, the Steelers or the Pirates right now? Who's
The
first?
Pittsburgh Passion. Oh, they already won.
The Pirates will.
Woo!
What?
Woo!
I don't know if I can go out there.
Woo! Even Levine is moving in his seat.
What?
He ain't going.
The Steelers got Jeffro Bodine as their defensive coordinator.
They got Jarvis Jones as the left outside linebacker.
No, he
They
can't
got-
play
They
yet.
got more holes than Swiss cheese in their secondary right now. Forget about
They got a
linebacker.
5'9" corner. They drafted.
Who's their strong safety?
He's 5'9".
We don't know.
Shamarko Thomas,
Yeah. For all we know.
the shark.
For all we know.
I'm just glad everybody has an opinion,
Well,
and we'll find out who's right.
But maybe it'll be Pitt with Dennis Briggs. Pitt will bring home a national championship.
You're a suck up to whoever comes on.
But you know what?
I can't
though,
even
Smoking Jim,
figure
in
it
all
out.
fairness, though, Florida State is going to be a team to be reckoned with.
Ohio State's
Ohio
loaded.
State's not in the ACC though.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant national championship. Oh, yeah, you're right. Florida State.
Yeah, the ACC
Yeah.
runs through Florida State still.
I thought we had the Sandbox boys split up for a second.
No, we're on the same page.
Hey, I root for the Steelers. I don't know if you know it, but it's baseball season right now. Just so you know.
We talked a lot of that.
What?
Baseball.
Yeah, but derogatory. Not good comments.
We bring the best out of Chip.
This from the control.
You
room.
haven't seen nothing yet
Devin
from
Shea
Chip.
just informed me that the Passion have won a championship quicker than the Steelers right now.
Yeah.
That's true.
Didn't
And
I say the
they're going to
Passion?
repeat.
Well,
He
yeah.
did mention
and they're
the
still
Passion.
undefeated.
6-0.
Pittsburgh Passion had a tough game last week.
With a
They
gateway
only
coach.
won 21-14. It's probably the first team they haven't beaten by 3 or 4 touchdowns yet this year.
And you know the difference?
What?
Gateway's finest, Harvey Smith coaching. He's worth a great coach is worth 7 points a game.
Shout out to the
That's the
Riverhounds.
difference.
The Riverhounds
Last
won.
year, the New England Patriots.
We're talking about
Brady will play in game 1.
Bet your house on that one. Bet 2.
Shady Brady.
I don't think so.
Where's the water? Where's the
don't think
ginger
so.
ale? Let's
countdown.
not
The
go
countdown
be
to the
spilling
Trove has
anything in.
begun. How many
Well-
days till St. Vincent's?
It doesn't matter because he's a true hater of baseball because a fan of baseball would
I
not
did
say
3
that.
innings last year.
Would not say
They
that.
don't even make the 7th inning stretch.
That's it, folks. We're out of this. They're out of control. Thanks for watching us. We appreciate it. Thanks for all those likes. Try to be safe out there. They're laughing so much they may not make it out of the studio. Thanks, Zach Brenner, Smoking Jim. Chip, it's always a pleasure. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Thanks, John Tiger Kiger. We got Z-Dog in the control room. Matt No Show Harkins is still there. Devin Shea back from El Salvador. Be safe. Stay Joey strong.